Okay, welcome back. Now that you know more about Swift and you've learned about if statements and switch statements, it's time to move on to another fundamental part of programming any app, and that is the idea of functions. So I have a new playground ready to go. I've clicked Next. I've named it Functions, and I will click and save. So what are functions? Well, I've pre-typed this out already. Functions, they're self-contained chunks of code that perform a specific task. You give a function a name that identifies what it does, and then that name is used to call the function in other parts of the code to perform the task when it's needed. Okay, functions may or may not have parameters, could have one or many, and a parameter is simply a named type that the function takes as an input. So it could be a string, an integer, a boolean, whatever. And like I said, you could have 1, 0, 2, however many you want. Let's dig into it. So let's first do a little simple function, which is a function without any parameters. Okay, so the keyword here is func. So let's say you start writing a function, and then you give it a name. So I'm going to call this function add to numbers. Add to numbers. Okay, so keep in mind too, this is the typical way you want to write the name of. You want to start it with a lowercase letter, and then every additional word you would use an uppercase. Yeah, but I believe this is called camel case, actually. That's how you want to identify your function. So after the name, since there's no parameters in this function, it's just an open and closed parenthesis. Then you want to do a dash and a greater than sign to make sort of like a little arrow. And then we'll write the word int and then a curly bracket. So what this means is we're defining a function called add to numbers that does not have any parameters. And the function is going to do something. And when it's done, it's going to return, which is the arrow, an integer. All right, so it's going to do something, and it's basically going to spit out a new number, which is going to be a type integer. So let's go ahead and try that. So let's do let number 1 equal 10, let number 2 equal 5, and let's let number 3 equal number 1 plus number 2. And then we have to write the keyword return, and we want to get back out from this function number 3. Okay, so the function's created, but nothing's happening, right? And that's because we've created it, but we didn't call it. So now we will call the function add to numbers, and the playground spits out the result that we knew was coming, 15. Now, a function does not have to return anything, right? You could get rid of the arrow and the int and get rid of this return number 3 line if you wanted to, and later you can still use the function. It's a little bit different. Sometimes you want to return a value, sometimes you don't. You will definitely understand the difference as we work through more examples in the course. But right now, this is how you define a function, create one, and call it. Okay, so now that's one without any parameters. Let's do a function with one parameter. Let's call this function say hello. So we'll do func say hello, open parenthesis. We're going to have it use a parameter called person, and that will be of type string. And then we want to return a string as well. Okay, so now we're defined with function say hello using the parameter person, which is a string, returning a string. Okay, great. So let's do let greeting equal hello, and we'll do a space and another closed parenthesis, plus person, plus quotation, exclamation mark, quotation. So basically it's going to say hello, the person's name, and an exclamation point all in one string. So then we will return greeting. Okay, great. So now the function is defined and declared. So now we want to call it. So let's say hello, and we will get an error, right? And now look at the error cause. Click on the little red sign. Missing argument for parameter person in call. Yes, of course, we've defined the function with a parameter, but we didn't actually insert a parameter when we called the function. So to do that, we simply write person, that's the parameter, and we need to input a string. So I'm going to input my name, Craig, and now watch, the function will output what we want. Hello, Craig. See how that works? Pretty cool, actually. So we could take this a step farther. let's create a function with multiple parameters. So we're going to create a function called say hi again. Okay, it's going to be a person string returning a string, and you can go ahead and just copy this let greeting and return greeting and paste that in. It's the same function, just titled something different. Because we've already used this name, we can't use it again, so I'm just going to say hi again. Okay, so we'll make a function that has two parameters, but first we need another variable. So let's do var already said hi, and we'll make that equal to a bool. And we will now say func say hi, and we'll have two parameters in here. We'll have a person, which is a string. You separate parameters with a comma, and then we'll say already said hi, which is a bool, and then we want to return a string. Okay, now we're going to use some logic. We learned about if statements already, so let's use one. So how about if already said hi is equal to true, then let's return say hi again, and the person will be the person parameter. Else, which means if we have not already said hi, then we want to return say hello person is person. Okay, great. Oh, excuse me, I have to say in say hi again, we want to say, in the greeting we'll say hello again. Just like that, hello again. I have to add that, it's important. So if already said hello is true, we will not use the say hello function, we will instead use the say hi again function. And if they didn't already say hello, they will simply just use the say hello function. Okay, so let's put that into action. Say hi. Let's say the person's name is Jen, and already said hi, we will say is true. So it uses the say hi again function because that's what our logic dictates here. Go ahead and look through it, make sure you completely get it. Okay, so it says hello again, Jen. But if we said that we didn't already say hello, it will simply just say hello, Jen. Okay, so that is how you create basic functions and what each of the little line and symbol within a function declaration means. This is something that I was not taught when I was first beginning either. I don't know why, but other instructors seem to breeze over it really, really quickly. So I hope I took my time on it and you understand what every little symbol means. And of course you already know about if statements, so this entire function should now make complete sense to you. Okay, in the next lecture we're going to move on and talk about optionals, a very important and awesome aspect of the Swift language, which just makes it more fun and way easier to develop apps. Okay, I'll see you then.